Hi, I'm Cora, and this is my queer journey. I am the co-founder and director of UNS, which is the first exclusively LGBTQI+ modelling agency in Germany. I moved to Berlin 2018, met my co-founder Max at the end of 2019, and then when the first lockdown started, Max texted me saying, "You know, you told me about this queer agency idea. Do you want to do it, and do you want to do it together?" The whole idea behind UNS was a feeling of duty. When we first talked about it and I first told Max about this idea of a queer modelling agency, we Googled and we didn't find anything. We thought we'd find 10 in Berlin. We thought we'd come up with a totally unoriginal idea. We're looking around and no one else has done it yet. We noticed very quickly, very, very often, a brand will book a whole cast of really nicely diverse models, and you'll look at the studio and you'll look in front of the camera, perfect, gorgeous diversity. Behind the camera, everybody cis, white, German. To us, it wasn't enough. We wanted more. We wanted something that was really explicitly like, this is by us and for us. That's why we also represent some creatives too. Not only is there diversity in front of the camera, there is also behind the camera. Until we launched UNS in 2020, there was nowhere that people could go and know that they would find that. So we realized very quickly that yeah, this is needed and it's working and it is going to work. We had our first successes really in the more commercial work. At first we thought we would move away from the very commercial things like the supermarket commercials, because it's not glam, and we wanted the glam at first, but then we realized that we need queer people visible in every single corner of every single industry. And if that means a young trans teenager at home seeing a trans person in a Edeka supermarket advert, and maybe that might be one of the first times that they've seen themselves represented in something that is just very normal and very without comment, just yeah, there's a trans person in this advert. And we realized the power of that. Photography and photos can really be a tool to let people in and to show them this is a beautiful person in a beautiful photograph, maybe in a magazine, on a billboard, in a shop, and that is not something you need to be scared of. I think a lot of people think that modelling it's easy, you're just hot and you just stand in front of the camera. It is 20% looks, 80% dedication, preparation, learning the industry, learning yourself, learning your craft, learning your image, developing your image, etc., etc. I'm here to advocate that modelling is a tough job, especially as a marginalised person. So that is where having an exclusively LGBTQI+ agency comes in. Not only do we have the lived experience in common of being a queer person in this world, in this society, but also that we are here purely to advocate. That is the absolute biggest priority for us as an agency, is that we are there to advocate for every single one of our models, of our creatives, and everyone in our networks too. In fashion, what are we doing if we're not putting the time and effort into these marginalised communities and making sure that they are seen and heard? This is something that I'm very passionate about in my work, not only with LGBTQI+ representation, but then also the representation of all bodies, and that can mean everything. It can mean plus size, skinny, trans, it can mean disabled, it can mean all sorts. Collaboration to me is everything. My work especially is the culmination of everyone and everything I've ever interacted with. Without collaboration, it is nothing. Without collaboration, I am nothing. I think being in a community like We Create Space is so incredibly important, because you need to be existing in circles and in spaces with like-minded people and with people that have a shared lived experience to you. We're each making micro sparks of change in our different corners wherever we're working, be that in fashion, media, marketing, corporate, whatever, medicine, anything. We're making these micro sparks of change, and when we come together in a space like We Create Space, we're joining them up. We're creating these little connections between each little spark, and therefore we're filling a space that needs people like us. If I could go back in time and talk to little me, I would tell them, you keep doing what you're doing. because it's going to work out. Even if people around you don't get it, that's completely fine. They don't need to. You do, and you do already get it, so keep at it. The message I would share with queer creatives who are struggling to find their place is no one else does you like you do. And that is the biggest strength that any of us have. You do you, no one else can.